I think there's a difference between trying to impress a woman versus being impressive. When you're impressive and she knows you're impressive, she likes you. I don't have to perform like a lot of guys have to perform. That's why I stand by the messaging in the manosphere to you work on yourself, build yourself up, you be on your purpose. And what you'll find is as you're working towards the goal in each of these individual areas of your life, you'll be amazed of the women that you will attract just by pursuing those things.
This is Caesar Walker, the cool, calm, collected one.
And I'm Ronnie Gatry, the emotional one.
And we are the Tipping Point Podcast, your source for the black male's perspective.
Tipping Point Podcast.
This is a great service to men in a sense to where we're giving men who are really serious about wanting to be in something long term, whether it's marriage. This is something that I think will be of good service to you. And obviously we have people of different walks of life listen to the pod, now watch the pod. Oh, yeah. This would be something great that you can share with your kids, your sons, nephews, and have conversations about it. Even people who are dating, maybe dating each other, things to have conversations about. I think this is what we want to strike up a conversation about this and get guys to thinking. I think too, Gat, this will help men kind of do some soul searching as we go through some of this. This isn't designed to police women. This isn't designed to judge women. It's not really what we're after. A lot of guys really are going through the motions of dating and don't really have any real strategy, right? They don't have any real approach. They just showing up. And we want to help guys kind of maneuver through the dating pool because there are a lot of people in the dating pool who aren't right for them. And if you don't really have the discipline, whether it's sexual discipline, whether it's being able to discipline yourself based on your emotions, whatever dopamine release that you get because you with an attractive woman, if you're unable to think through this process in order to properly vet this woman, it may be a sign that you're probably not really ready to date on this level, right? And you may have some more work to do personally within yourself. Hopefully you're kind of evaluating that as you're going through the process, as you listen to some of the things we talked about. That's it, man. Like those are some of the things I just want to kind of get out there as we go through. And we talked about dating to determine if the woman fits, right? That should be the ultimate goal. Does she fit me? Does she fit where I want to go? And we talked about attraction last time. Basically, how does this woman present herself? And when I think about it, sometimes you may luck up. Sometimes you're able to find a person who fits you, who still may be 9 or 10. But for the most part, when you're looking for a person who fits you, there are times where you may have to compromise looks to a degree. Doesn't mean the woman's not attractive, but I remember hearing Kevin Samuels say men have to go down in looks to go up in cooperation or to go up in some of the things that they value, right, in a woman. And so it's not a guarantee that just because she's really attractive that you're going to get the other things that are more sustainable for long-term relationships, right?
Right.
So we talked about attraction and we talked about a lot of stuff. Eye-opener for you, I'm pretty sure. There were some things I thought about afterwards because I said the list wasn't exhaustive. That I was like, ooh, I kind of want to talk about that. I mentioned hair. And I mentioned hair, but I kept getting sidetracked, and in the interest of time, we had to move on. And I understand that can be a touchy one. I actually think this is going to be an easy one because I have hair. I can empathize with women in terms of maintaining their hair, right? Because I have to do it. Got a lot of it, right? The thing that I am after when it comes to hair is just how well do you take care of yourself? Now, when you listen to a lot of men, there are a lot of men who are anti-weave, anti-wigs, like they want a woman to wear their natural hair. I understand why women don't want to wear their natural hair all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like I go through periods, especially lately, where I'm like, I am really close to cutting it off just because of the maintenance. And I just don't have that time. But for me, I'm a man. I can cut it off. No one thinks any different. But I think it's a big deal for women when they make that type of decision, right? And a lot of women aspire to grow their hair out and grow it lengthy and have it be long, right? I am concerned about whether or not this woman, and my compromise here is I'm okay with you wearing a protective hairstyle or wearing braids or wearing whatever, right? Or sewing whatever. Do you take care of your hair underneath? Because we've seen women who remove the wig, remove the weave, and their hair is a mess up under. They don't wash it. They don't take care of it. They don't do. To me, that's a problem. That's a bigger problem than the actual, because it's almost like the makeup. Does the makeup compensate for the fact that you don't take care of your skin? Does the weave or the wigs or whatever take care of the fact that you don't really take care of your hair? Right?
Right.
So what's attractive to me is, and something that a guy has to consider, don't necessarily think it's in and of itself a red flag, but again, as you listen, you determine what's a red flag, a yellow flag, green flag for you, right? Does this woman take care of herself? Does she understand how to take care of her hair? Even if she's not really wearing it, does she take care of it? Are her edges gone because she doesn't take care of her hair? These are some things I've seen girls who have worn braids for too long. and the damage, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like these are things that you need to consider when you're seeing, like when you see her, can you tell she doesn't wear her hair? Right? Mm-hmm. You never see her wear her hair. That's something that you may want to consider. How often is she changing her hair? That's another thing too, because this can get like, your wife is in the hair and you see how much products and stuff cost and whatever. If she's changing her hair, I dated a girl who changed her hair almost every week. Yes, she had a different hairstyle every other week. How much money are you spending? Number one. And number two, where is the time to do all of this? Right? And are you managing your, again, these are things you have to consider. Hair color. If it's an unusual hair color, that's bordering a red flag for me.
Right.
Because again, there's a reason certain stereotypes exist. There's some validity to some of these stereotypes. Not saying that's true in every case, but we see a woman with a certain hairstyle, we're already assuming something not positive about her temperament, about her attitude, about how she treats. You see what I'm saying? How she cares. There's already an assumption there, and unfortunately, there are people that throughout our course of life we've met who've fallen under that description. It's proven to be true. May not be true of everyone, but that's something that you have to consider when you meet someone with blue hair, purple hair, pink hair. You know what I mean? Bright red hair. So again, there are exceptions. I've seen women do hairstyle or hair color and they can actually pull some of these colors off, like the auburn, brownish type, you know what I mean? But when you start getting into hair color that don't even look like a human is capable of growing that, it gets. So I wanted to touch quickly on that. Nails, fingernails, the claws.
Oh, God.
Talk to me.
Turn me off.
Why?
What you gonna do with those?
What can you do with those? What can you do? Like the ones my wife pointed out that, you got nails that point. They come at a point.
Right.
And I'm just like, from a practical standpoint, Like, is there a function? Like, how functional is that look?
Well, and then I'm so getting canceled for this. But my thought is, we know women. We know what women have to deal with. How are you dealing with that, with the claws?
How do you wipe yourself?
How do you wipe yourself with the claws?
Yeah. Good question.
Is it worth it?
How do you cook? How do you clean? Like, could you imagine washing dishes every night with claws like that?
Dude, how are you making love to me with claws?
Safely.
What? You asking me or telling me?
I'm asking you a question.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And then we talk about hygiene. I want a clean woman. What's up under them nails?
Bro, I see stuff under my nails and I don't have like,
You sanitizing them nails?
it's just, dude, dirt gets under my nails easily. You see how long my nails are?
Yeah.
You have to believe.
You got a nail brush? These are questions I would have. I would ask somebody with them claws.
Yeah. Yeah, again, you'll be hard pressed. But again, I remember when SWV back in the 90s came out and they were like one of the first women I saw with those long nails like that.
Yeah.
And I never thought that would have become a trend years later. Never thought that would be as big as it is now.
Sheesh.
And I've watched women try to type with those things.
Struggle bus?
And it's really loud and annoying if you have to sit in the cube next to them.
And not to mention the texting. They text like this.
It's just not functional. It's not so
Walker.
Okay, go ahead.
Because
we got him. He's activated.
You said something years ago that has stuck with me.
What'd I say?
Oftentimes, women don't do that for men. Women do that for other women. Not in a like, I'm into other women type of thing. They're looking for some type of validation from other women because we know most of the fellas out there aren't into the claws. We know most of the fellas out there aren't into the 20-inch eyelashes.
Right.
Amen,
We
brother.
know fellas out there aren't interested in the eyelashes on your vehicle, on your headlights.
All right.
I've never wanted to run my truck into a car so bad in my life and rip them eyelashes off.
And the extra long braids that go down below your knees.
I could be wrong. There could be a man for everything.
It's not functional.
Thank you. It's not functional, but
And
like,
how do you clean it off?
Oftentimes, those things aren't for us.
Right. Right. So the concern here, the concern I have, and this is something that as a man, you have to ask yourself, I enter into a union with this woman long term. This is something that I'm going to have to deal with. A woman who cannot do stuff around the house because she can't damage her nails. So what gets neglected as a result of your aesthetic? And if you're making choices like that are that simple and immature, what other immature decisions are you making? So it goes deep beyond the aesthetic. It's the decision behind that aesthetic that we have an issue with. Like, am I with a very immature woman? Is that a possibility that you're mentally a child when it comes to that? Because you got stuff to do as an adult and you can't do it because,
Right.
So that to me, those are things, again, when we talk about what's attractive, long term, that's going to be very annoying for a lot of men because of what gets neglected for you to have that aesthetic. This is the one I wanted to talk about, though. Plastic surgery. I forgot about that one. That's a biggie because that's a big part of the aesthetic that we see with a lot of women who, in terms of the presentation, thoughts?
This is a mixed bag for me.
Okay.
And I'm gonna keep it all the way a buck on this one.
Sure.
Now that men are entertained by, men may even be slightly attracted to. Black disagrees with me. But we've seen the BBLs. We've seen them.
Okay. Yeah, we have.
Yeah, I mean,
You talking about the good ones?
yeah, well, we've seen them all.
Okay.
We've seen the not so good ones too.
Sure. That's what I'm saying. Which ones are
We're
you
talking about the ones only worthy of being spoken about on this podcast format.
Okay.
I can speak for myself here, but it's going to get my attention. It is.
Sure.
Thankfully, I have the discipline enough to know, like, it stops right there. But at the same time, I think often what's not considered is what's that woman's life like after that? Because it starts to develop a potential health concern. Again, revisiting the disclaimer, we're talking to guys here looking for long-term relationships with women. So you got to think that BBL, how it looks today, how is it going to look 15, 20 years? What type of health concerns is she going to have in 15 or 20 years? These are things to consider. So it may look good, it may entice you, it may entertain you, but you got to be aware of the long-term impact of that. That's my opinion on the plastic surgery kick. And I feel very chauvinistic because I limited it to BBLs, but I think the same theory rings true across several different types of plastic surgery procedures.
Okay. Thoughts, Black?
Are we talking about all plastic surgery?
Yeah, just yeah, it can encompass
Well-
BBL, but I'm talking about stuff to your face, whatever the case. Tummy tucks, whatever the case.
Well, the thing that comes to mind that I'm not crazy about is those BBLs because they don't look natural to me. And it makes like the female body looks like disproportion. Like you have this, it's like the way it sits on her body, it may not match her thighs or her, it's like, it looks ridiculous to me. But like some things, like as far as like, I don't mind like the breast augmentation, just as long as it's not too extreme. Because I know some women have had to do that for medical reasons.
Right.
But like that, like BBLs just for a cosmetic reason, they don't look natural to me. And I'm not a fan of them.
Okay. What?
We're really leaning on BBLs.
Because that's the one that's the most unnatural. Like, we were saying breast implants for 20, 30 years?
Longer
That's not a
than
big
that.
deal.
Yeah, it's been yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's normalized now at this point.
It is. What I would say is, again, I think that with the advancements of medical science, like we have the ability, women have the ability to have procedures done if necessary. If there's an injury, if there's something deformed, even with your face that you want to get corrected, I think we have the science now for women to be able to get those things done. My concern with a woman who wants to make a cosmetic change because of an issue she has with her body that's subjective, because objectively, I think we all can agree, getting your teeth straightened, you should do that.
Yeah.
If you are having challenges with your objectively, you should handle that. But we're talking about things that are subjective, meaning most people don't even see what you're seeing about yourself, but you feel as though I need to go under the knife to correct this. As a man who is joining in a relationship with a woman long term who looks a certain way now, but we know it's because of surgery, we have to ask ourselves, does this end? Because Father Time is undefeated. Gravity is undefeated.
Stop.
The internet, no.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So as you begin to age and you no longer look like the woman that you wanted to look like, do we have to revisit going back under the knife? And we have to talk about, for me as a man, the emotional labor that's going to be required of me to assure you that you are enough just the way you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I choose you, when that guy is really into you, he's into you. Right?
Right.
So, and I understand that there is a responsibility, like there are things that we do as husbands for our wives to reassure them, right? Words of affirmation do apply to them in aspects, right? So we understand that it's not like I'm not expecting to have to build you up at times. But when there's an internal thing going on within you to where you haven't accepted yourself apart from me, there's nothing I can do.
Right.
To assure you at that point, because you're not happy with you. I have to continue to alter my body so that I can be comfortable at the present time with myself. It's not a good look.
Right.
That's not a good look. And as for the BBL, what comes to mind, and you alluded to it, but what comes to mind is K. Michelle, the singer K. Michelle. She had a BBL a few years ago. And it was huge. Like, looked okay, but it was just huge. She ended up spending over $300,000 in corrective surgeries based on issues that she was having. So we already know and understand that is an unhealthy procedure. What is going on with you to where you're willing to risk your health, potentially your life, to have that procedure? Why is it that important that you're willing to risk all of that? And if I am going to join with you long term, that's my issue.
Right.
Whose pocket do you think that's going to be coming out of for corrective surgeries just so that you don't die? So it may be attractive short term. Long term, is it really worth it? And these are things that you have to think about. Now, don't be thinking with your penis. Just think about what are the long-term effects. Doctors who care about their reputation don't stand by these procedures. Why would I want the woman that I want to join long-term in union with getting that procedure? It's not going to be good. And if I ignore those red flags and join in union with a woman like that, whatever happens down the road, you went in eyes wide open. So that's something you got to consider. I wanted to talk about that before we moved on. If that was okay.
Yeah, you got to consider the mental and physical scars that are going to be left over.
Absolutely.
And then, like, do you want everything else that comes with that? And I'm going back to BBL. But you walk around with your girl with the BBL, all the other fellas looking.
Yeah.
Do you want all
the
that?
attention? The attention.
Yeah. And you may. That's cool. Just something to think about.
Something to think about. Do you want to deal with what comes with all of that attention?
Right. And gosh, I know we're spending too much time here.
You good.
But I thought about one of the comments we got on our tattoos
Okay.
short on YouTube.
Okay.
And this person
I didn't even read the comments, but go ahead.
YouTube's been on us about responding to comments, so I put a little time in this week. But it seemed like from that clip, they got the impression that we were against women having tattoos. And
Yeah,
so-
if you listen to it in that snap without listening to the
Sure,
full video,
sure,
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want us to. I just want to go on record and reiterate. It's not that we're against the BBLs.
I am. I am actually. But go ahead.
Okay. Well,
That's me.
well, okay.
That's me. I'm not saying every man should, and obviously men enjoy them. I don't. Dude, it's not safe.
True.
And I can stand behind that.
I can't argue that.
That's my angle to it. It's not safe.
I cannot argue.
So
that.
yes, I'm against BBLs.
Right.
And there's probably not can you think of a medical reason why it would be required?
No.
And you better believe
You got to go to the trap house to get it done. It's not.
Best believe that's not the only time you're going to have surgery
Right.
regarding that. That's very expensive in so many ways.
Maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not against it. I'm not against women that get them. I'm just
It
saying.
ain't got nothing to do with her. It's the decision making.
Well, yeah. Okay, you said it more eloquently, but
It's the decision making. I'm not against the woman.
My focus is on whatever she decides to do is great. If it has attracted you at this point, you need to evaluate what that looks like
Why is it
long-term.
attractive?
Right.
Why is it attractive to you?
Right. That's all I want to go on record.
Yeah.
with saying.
Okay. Well said.
You will not be canceled. Good job.
Well, we're probably still getting canceled.
They canceled me long before they canceled you. Guys, let's talk about now that we've dealt with the attraction. Hopefully, again, you're disciplined enough to understand why you're attracted to this woman. And the goal here, even for women, is that you're able to discern whether or not you really like this person, you're interested in this person, or you're just in lust. That's really the goal here is like, am I really lusting after this woman?
Right.
But now we're getting into connection. And we agreed that connection is important. Why is a connection important?
I mean,
In terms of determining fit.
yeah, like no man wants a woman that looks great and they're physically attracted to, but offers absolutely nothing else. If we're thinking long term, you have to connect on something.
Yeah.
Now, in an ideal scenario, it'd be more than one thing, but without that, I'm trying to think of a slick analogy, and I've got no results found.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just like I couldn't imagine being able to sit across from somebody at a dinner table and just gaze at them and there be nothing else. So you got to have a connection there. That's brief synopsis of my reason. I've got some examples I'm going to give later, but that answers that question.
Like I ask you a question in a minute, because I think you'll be all over this one. But obviously there's so many different. I sent you guys notes. There's so many things that determines if this is a real connection. Obviously, she's got to be down to earth and cool, and you know those things. One of the things that stuck out to me, I was thinking about this, about having a connection with someone, is availability. If you're attracted to someone who's not really available to you, y'all don't have a connection. There's really no connection. If she's not available, you feeling her, but she's slow to text back. She's slow to return your call. She's available ever so often. Y'all don't have a connection. Thoughts? Your brain is turning.
I've got questions.
Ask away.
If you were connected, does either party then feel inspired enough to make themselves more available
Yes.
because of the connection?
Not necessarily because of the connection. It's a gauge to determine if this woman really likes you,
Okay.
right?
Right.
So what I'm encouraging guys to do, and I've talked about the job analogy. The thing with the job analogy is, first, you're an established company, you have a job opening, right? You have a job opening, you've posted this job opening, you have the job description, you have the skills required, you have the education required, you have all of that laid out, right? It's posted, and then you have people who apply, submit their resumes, right? I reach out to you, you apply for the job. I reach out to you for a phone screen and you don't get a response. Or you respond to me, you know, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you get around to it. We finally have a screen with you, a phone screen. Have a conversation, goes well. We want to set you up for we contact you again to come in for an actual interview.
Right.
Slow to response. What does the job begin to think about you?
That you're not interested.
Same?
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So if the job understands that a person who really is interested in this job would be more available, why do we as men continue to pursue a woman who's showing us by her actions, I'm really not that interested in you? Why would we do that?
Because we think we can change our mind. It's about the hunt.
Validation?
Validation. This is touchy, Walker.
Talk to me.
This
Talk
is
to
my
me.
bag.
Okay.
My wife ran for me, bro. She wasn't my wife then, but you know what I mean.
We're going to talk about that.
Okay. One could argue there was no connection there. So if I adopt what you say, man, I should have moved on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my counter to your analogy.
Okay. How many times has that worked out for you?
What do you mean? Oh, one.
Out of how many?
2.
It depends on what we're asking.
Petty. You're so. It depends. No, the women that you've gone at, you didn't take no for an answer. She's playing hard to get. Again, this is a very.
No. I
What?
mean, she's the only one.
She's the only one that you did that with.
Yeah. This is where it gets weird because no. It may take me a while to understand that she's not into me, but once I get it, I'm out. That's even low confidence, Ronnie.
Okay.
I'm out. Like, cool, I get it. It sucks, but I get it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go try to find something else.
Okay. So what are you saying then?
I'm saying like all the signs that you laid out of a disconnection and a lack of interest, my now wife gave me those in our infancy.
Didn't y'all rub each other the wrong way?
Me? An upstanding gentleman such as myself? Never. Now, did she rub me the wrong way? Yeah. Yes.
So there's a little bit more context to this.
Yeah.
Here's what I
I'll admit our relationship is unique. How we grew to love each other is unique. I'll admit that.
sure.
So maybe I shouldn't use that as an example.
Well, here's the point that I'm making. Is this dynamic transactional? Because there are women who, for her to show up for a date, there's some women who, unless they talk to you, it should be over dinner or over some experience.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of that out there now.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when I talk about availability, I'm saying for the guy who is pursuing a woman, taking her out, investing time and energy after a woman, but if he just wants to have a conversation, just wants to be around her, but she's unavailable, but when it comes time for lunch, she picks up. It comes time for... See, your wife didn't do that stuff to you.
No. Now, I have been a foodie date, as I've said on this podcast before. So, yeah.
Okay. So what
I've been in that exact same...
So what I'm saying is when you talk about a connection, and I think this should help men be able to determine whether this is a red flag. Is she available? Now, Sycac says this. He says that when it comes to dating, all men pay. In other words, when we're pursuing a woman, there's going to be an investment made. Investment of our time, investment of our finances. So what we're not encouraging is that you don't pay anything. right? You get something for nothing. We're not saying that. What he argues is that the more a woman likes a guy, the bigger the discount. All men pay, but the more the woman likes the guy, the greater the discount. In other words, when she likes him, she's available to him. She's a little bit more available to that guy.
Yeah.
There's no leaving him on red. There's none of, no, she's responsive because she actually likes him. So when we talk about a connection and I'm talking about availability, this is a gauge to determine her interest level in you. So if it's taking her a while to text you back, taking her a while to call you back, taking her forever to try to get her to go out with you, it's because she don't really feel you like that.
Okay.
Thoughts?
No, that's fair.
Okay. That's what I'm getting at there. Availability to me is a very strong indication of whether or not there's a connection between you and this woman.
Right.
And I think because men are still stuck on the first thing, attraction, I'm so attracted to this woman and I'm blinded by her beauty, I'm ignoring or overlooking the fact that she is not really that responsive to me.
Right.
And I don't want guys to look up and see the same woman that you're interested in giving attention to a guy who's doing a fraction of what you're doing. Right?
That sucks.
That's the red pilling that a lot of guys run into when they're interacting with women. So I think availability is a key thing. How available is she? You got anything, Black? Thoughts on that?
Just that, I guess whether it's a man or a woman, I believe people make time for things that are important to them.
100%. 100%. You hear that all the time.
Yeah, because I've been in situations, and it was mostly married men, but like I may call a homeboy, like I may be like a cube over from them. They may not pick up. Call them again, they may not pick up. I walk over there, their wife calls one time, they pick up on the first ring. Regardless of whatever they're doing, they will stop what they're doing to pick up that phone. I'm not talking about you, Kat.
Okay. He said one cube over. I didn't know if there was like some subliminal shade here because we all used to work together.
No, I mean, but that's what most of my married, like all of my married friends.
I was one cube over too.
Well, all of my married friends, like when that wife calls, they picking up.
Yeah.
As soon as they can. If they can do it right then, it's like within a reasonable time frame, they calling them back.
That's also why, based on what I was mentioning with Psychax, that's another reason why I haven't been the type I'm trying to impress you on a date. I think there's a difference between trying to impress a woman versus being impressive. There's a difference between the two. When you're impressive and she knows you're impressive, she likes you. I don't have to perform like a lot of guys have to perform for a woman. That's why I stand by the messaging in the manosphere to you work on yourself, you build yourself up, you be on your purpose, you develop yourself health-wise, career-wise, spiritually, social, like you work on these attributes of yourself. And what you'll find is as you're working towards the goal in each of these individual areas of your life, you'll be amazed of the women that you will attract just by pursuing those things. Right? As they say, you'll lose money chasing women, but you'll never lose women chasing
money
or just your purpose. Right?
Yeah.
So it's a different switch there, right? I'm not saying be a jerk or be an a-hole, but what I'm saying is I'm not seeking your validation of me now. So when we talk about availability, coffee dates or dates just in general. Before we get to the coffee date, before we get there, sorry. I mentioned the analogy of the phone screen.
Yeah.
So let's go back there. I'm a company and you've applied for a job. And we have a phone screen. You dry. No enthusiasm, no excitement, one word answers. What's the likelihood that you're going to get a call back?
Unlikely.
Why?
They want you to be excited about the opportunity. At least mildly excited. Nuance if it's not in your if it's not in your nature of who you are.
Sure.
But you can still.
But you
even
still-
on a phone
you
screen,
still-
can tell if someone's
Again, you're presenting yourself to this company,
right.
right?
Right.
So even though you may not be the most bubbly person, you know how to not be dry.
Right.
Is that fair?
Very fair.
How do we still get to asking a woman out if the conversation isn't good on the phone? How does that happen? Because again, this is the best. Unless, again, I understand there sometimes people have a day. But usually when you're having a day, you lead with that.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or, hey, I'm having a bad day. We'll talk tomorrow. But if this is you, nothing's wrong, and I'm struggling to transition the conversation. You're not really interesting on the phone. You're distracted on the phone. Whatever the case may be, what makes me say, oh, we need to escalate this?
Right.
I want to see her be boring in person. How do we get there? Why do we still think am I really that eager to have sex with her? Is that what it is?
Gotta be.
I gotta smash this woman. So I'm going to torture myself just to get to the sex possibly.
Right.
That has to be it.
I can't think of any other reason why.
Or she's just that gorgeous that we'll figure it out.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
No.
So there's no woman that attractive. There's no woman that attractive that if she was really dull, the conversation was dull and boring, you wouldn't be like, next. You're telling me that dudes universally would be gone, wouldn't consider this woman.
Maybe not for a long-term relationship.
Okay. But we're talking about for long term.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean that's why I led my comments off on this. Like, yeah.
So do you agree, and Black, chime in, do you agree that if you're talking to a person, talking about connection here, and y'all aren't really you're not enjoying the conversation or talking to her on the phone, is there a reason to escalate this to a date?
No.
No?
No reason at all.
Okay. But we know dudes who do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was shouting.
When they're being like, in some cases, guys be dishonest. They keep them around till they like find something better or they have more options. But if they're being honest, there's no reason for you to.
So that's an
prolong that.
integrity thing
Yeah.
on the guy's part.
Yeah, there's no reason to prolong it if you know from the jump that you're not gonna be interested long term. But you know how we are sometimes.
How are we? I don't know.
We're dishonest at times. But I am not gonna go down that path because that's not my role in this conversation.
That's very convenient for you, Black.
Who defined his role? Never mind.
No one did. No one did.
Just making sure.
No one can even see him. But apparently he has a role that he has to honor.
News to me.
Yeah. Breaking news. That's interesting.
It is.
That's very interesting. So really and truly, if we're going to follow the job analogy, there should be a conversation had that would escalate this to a date. Something interesting about her that, hey, let's talk about this over dinner. I want to learn more about this. I'm pretty intrigued by blank.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Or we can talk about the challenges you've had in your career doing blank, right?
Right.
Now, I want to go out with you because I'm interested about this part of you. I want to get to know more about this. It actually becomes easier to ask the woman out when I'm like, hey, you know, especially if we've connected on something, like I want to talk more about such and such because I want to know your thoughts on da 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 da. We should have that over dinner.
Yeah.
Right?
Seems like a pretty.
It becomes
basic
easy to
conversion.
transition into the
yeah.
date when you're able to connect conversationally with this woman.
Right.
Right? The coffee date thing. I wanted to circle back around to this one because I think that I want to give some wisdom around the coffee date. Not all first dates have to be a coffee date.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
There are exceptions to this. I think for the most part, a lot of men are meeting women through social media. So you don't know this person. I think in that case, coffee date, walk in the park, meeting up for drinks or whatever, that makes sense. In your case, Gat, your first date with your wife, you didn't take her for anything, a date like that.
No.
Why not? It's a simple answer.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm overcomplicating it.
Okay. The
Or
reason
oversimplifying it one.
reason why is, as Gatry loves to tell this story, y'all were enemies,
Oh.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I
What
thought you
broke
were going somewhere else.
what broke the ice?
The conversation.
No. What was the thing that began to break the ice? You bought a house
Yeah. Yeah.
and you needed someone to help you decorate it.
Correct. Yes.
So she would come over to the house, survey your house, give you some suggestions. You took notes, I'm assuming, or she may have. I don't know. I don't know how this worked. You want to explain it? It's your story.
You know I didn't take any notes. You know me for a long time.
Okay, Gat.
Hey, be truthful if you're gonna be on this podcast.
So that's why you need to tell the story then. Now that I got you there. How did it, what happened to get you to where y'all began talking?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a common interest, I guess.
Okay, so y'all start, just casually. Y'all would start talking and then the conversation would casually transition to whatever.
Right. Right.
And it was in the conversation, she's at your house, y'all are sitting down talking. Something happened to where you began seeing her differently.
Yeah.
Do you remember when that moment was?
Oh yeah.
What was it?
It was when she asked me. Well, she didn't ask me. She told me. She said, "Oh, you're more than just a class clown."
What made her say that? Do you know?
She was asking questions about my family. So, of course, my family goes to the same church. I met her.
Sure.
So she's familiar with my family. But we were in the car right here on Lakeshore. I remember it like it was yesterday. And she asked me a question about a particular family member, and I shared. And that's when she kind of stopped. She's like, "Oh, you do have a serious side." And so that's when things. And that night, I was taking her back to her place, but she invited me up, stayed the rest of the night.
Just talking.
Just talking, yes.
And
We
so
talked for hours.
And so during the conversation, what was changing in you?
My impression of her, because although I didn't communicate it, I was starting to look at her differently now.
That's when,
Right,
so
'cause
it
if
happened
you're-
with her
if-
first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't think I knew that.
No. I was ready to take her back to wherever she came from and burn rubber the opposite direction.
Chuck deuces.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes. Like, I'm telling you.
Was this the first time she came over to look at at your house, or was this like
No,
after a series of?
It's the second time. 'Cause
Okay.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. It was like the second time. It was like the second time. So, yeah.
Okay. So
And this is one of my talking points I wanted to share about connections. But with her, she had a genuine interest in me, even though she probably wouldn't have articulated that way at the time. And that was enough for me to be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, call me a clown or whatever." But you're peeling layers back intentionally wanting to know more about me.
Right. Right. So what I'm saying here is there's no need for a coffee date with you two because you're already doing what I'm suggesting you do on the coffee date.
Right. It just happened to happen.
It happened organically.
Truly. Yes.
It happened organically. You knew it. You two go to the same church, same
friend
single
group, yeah.
friend group. So you know
her
this
twice a week at least.
You know this person.
Yeah.
Y'all sat down and talked. You broke the ice. There's some interest there. First date at a restaurant is fine.
Right.
That's fine. Right?
Well, not necessarily.
Why?
Even after that, I still got several rejections when I asked her to dinner. That was the whole gift card thing.
Do you know why she was doing that?
Why she was rejecting me?
Yes.
I have no idea. Tell me.
You should ask her.
Okay.
I don't
Can
have
call-
an answer.
Can we call her in?
No. We gotta get through this. But my point is you need to find out why she did that. Because again, I don't know why she would do that.
Right.
If she eventually would say yes.
Right.
I don't know why she would do that. That may be a her thing. Okay? All things being equal, what I'm saying is if a woman is not showing, again, this woman has shown interest in you and through conversation. Right? So it's not a situation where you meet someone, you like them, you get their contact information, and now you're shooting air balls. Right? They're not responding to you. We're not talking about that. Right? You can actually get her on the phone.
Right.
You can actually talk. So it's a little nuanced in your case. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you had met her online, y'all didn't go to the same church, y'all swiped and y'all was a match, and y'all did exchange information. To me, I think taking her somewhere where it's low risk, no pressure, because the issue here is, tell me if this is your marriage, okay? You spend more time outside of the bedroom than you do inside the bedroom.
Yes.
Right?
True.
And you would have a marriage most people would admire and respect. Okay? It's not perfect, but people's like, hey, I love what Gatry has. This beautiful family, beautiful situation. You spend more time at home than you do at a restaurant.
Yeah.
You spend more time at home than you do on a vacation.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So the true connection that you and your wife have is when you're doing nothing. What the coffee date is a way to determine, can I talk to you baseline? I'm not saying we can't not, do I have to have a fancy meal? Do I have to have something memorable going on for you to open up and be lively? Or are you naturally comfortable talking to me, having fun with me, kicking it with me, and there's nothing happening? It's not about being cheap. It's about determining, do we enjoy just talking to each other? Can we talk to each other?
Yeah.
Or I might be distracted by the server coming every now and again to see if we're okay, bringing us food. Right?
Right.
With no distractions, can we sit in front of each other and connect? That's what the goal should be. And if we can, let's go to dinner. Let's do some cool stuff together, because at least baseline, I know we can talk to each other.
Right.
That's the goal. That's the mentality. But if she is demanding that you take her somewhere, she's prioritizing something beyond the connection. And it could be immaturity on her part. It could be a lot of things, but again, that's none of your concern. You're just trying to determine, does she fit me? And if she doesn't respect that conviction I have to want to get to know her, take interest in her, have a conversation, get beneath the surface, get beneath the attraction, and find out what makes her tick. If she doesn't want to do that, or if she requires a dinner or me paying money for an outcome that may or may not happen, that's a problem.
Right.
That's a problem. And that's not someone that I want to connect with, as far as I'm concerned. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I think the pandemic put that to the test. It exposed a lot of people,
Talk to
whether
me.
they had connections or not, being stuck
That's
at
true.
home with someone all day.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That really
The,
tested.
the distractions got removed.
Right.
Yeah.
Now
It's just me and you.
it's me and you. It's sink or swim.
Right.
And does his house feel smaller or bigger?
Yes. Yes.
I think the house got smaller for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So this is important. This is why. So again, what I would encourage, the caveat here, because I want to be fair to ladies here. For this to work, man, you can't lead with a lot of sexual tension. And I understand the woman's point of view here. I do. Because if I'm leading with sex, but I'm taking you for coffee, now I'm a jerk.
Right.
I want her to give me sex, but I'm just going to pay for coffee for you. Right?
Right.
This works if I'm genuine. Again, search your soul, guys. Search your soul. Am I ready to date or I just want some box? If you just want some box, then cool. Do you, but don't say that you're serious about.
Right. Just like we said on this podcast before, be honest with your
Be
intentions up front.
honest,
Be a
man. Be honest about where you really are.
It's okay.
Okay? This works if you're genuine about getting to know her.
Right.
You can stand on your square when you're being genuine. Unfortunately, women have had dudes who throwing little sexual innuendos in there while they sitting in front of coffee, while they having coffee.
Right.
I get why she wouldn't want a coffee date. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can. But if you're being honest about where you are, about what you want, and you just want to get to know her to see if this makes sense. I just want to see if this makes sense. I don't want sex. Do you like talking to me? Do you like, how's the conversation? Like, am I even funny? Does she have and these are the things I'm asking. How is her body language when we're talking? Because your body language can communicate more than anything that comes out your mouth. What's her body language like? Does she ask the conversation with you and your wife? Does she ask questions about you? Or is the conversation dominated by her and her life? Does she go on and on about her? Is she self-absorbed? Or does she really want to know more about you? This is a connection, guys. If she takes interest in you, it may not even be anything that she can relate to, but she wants to know, why are you so into podcasting? Talk about that. Like, what made you so passionate about that? What da 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 da. I'm not into podcasts, but I'm curious about that. She's interested in you
Yes.
when she's asking those questions. That's a connection there. Now I want to know more about this person. We've connected in some way. I want to get to know this person, more about this person.
Yeah.
Thoughts? I think, respect. You mentioned respect last
Can't
time.
connect without respect.
Bars. You mentioned that. I felt like that best applied here. But how does she treat you on the date? Is she combative? Is she argumentative? Is she really willing to go back and forth with you on the simplest of stuff?
Right.
Remember, this is her in her best behavior. So if she's willing to be very argumentative on a first time meeting, this is going to be your life for the rest of your life with this person. Is she touchy? You know, is she sensitive? You joke about something? What you mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you connecting? Is this a connection? And don't get caught up on first base, her attraction, to overlook this process.
That's easy for brothers to do, though.
Don't overlook how good she looks, how good she smells. Don't allow that to overlook the fact that she's not really all that. She throwing little jabs at you and she don't really know you like that.
Right. Not cool.
Does she respect you? Is she respectful? When a woman likes a guy, why is she dating this guy? This dude is, but she's giving him the royal treatment. Why? Because regardless of how you feel about him, she respects him. When she likes you and there's a connection, she behaves differently when she really likes this guy.
Right.
She's putting her best foot forward. So if you notice something's off, why did she say that? Like,
Yeah.
that's a red flag. You guys got anything else?
No, I'm good.
What you think about this one, man?
It was good. I think it's good supplemental context I like where we're going with it, just building what true attraction looks like. Or excuse me.
Attraction and then connection. It all determines whether you're attracted to this person. But you're starting to figure out, okay, I know what is really attractive long term for me. I found someone who is attractive, but now we can actually talk to each other. She enjoys my sense of humor. We you know what I mean? Her body language, she doesn't snarl at me when I say, you know what I mean? Like, she actually enjoys being around. All right, I like this.
Yeah.
You're feeling good now. We're going to talk about, and we may spend a few episodes here, but we're going to talk about that whole compatibility thing, alignment.
Yeah.
This is when you've been dating for a while. This is the thing that's going to take a series, like several dates, several months to answer some of these questions.
Right. Okay.
But connection, I think we've addressed that. Unless y'all don't have anything, I think we caught up. So good. Y'all, thanks for checking us out. You already know what to do. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like the video. Check us out also if you want to listen to us in the car, treadmill, at the THA Tipping Point, X, IG, even where podcasts are streamed. As always, I'm Caesar Walker. He's Ronnie Gatry. He's Black. And we're the Tipping Point Podcast. Thanks again for listening and supporting.